welcome back to my channel. Make sure you get yourself comfortable. I have prepared a lot of interesting and very useful information about Throne and Liberty. The world is expected to be huge. It will include overseas traveling and even a ride on a whale's back if you're lucky enough. The changes in climate and time add an extra layer of enjoyment to this world. You can observe the changing flora and fauna with the weather, or dazzle at the beautiful sunrise as night ends. These are some of the magical variables that can unlock wondrous adventures beyond your main quest. Of course, even in a world full of variables, rules are necessary. Time in this world is organized into a series of regular events. Regional events such as hunting contests take place over an entire region, and region bosses who drop special items appear according to a set schedule. Information about events is communicated impartially to everyone. One in-game day consists of 2 hours of daylight and 30 minutes of night. This is completely asynchronous with real-life 24-hour cycle, allowing players to experience different in-game environments even if they consistently log in at the same time. Variables that encourage players to adapt along with the rules that enable players to strategize. The game will offer a variety of classes and it will depend on which weapon you are using, so it will not be something that you're bound to after creating your character. No matter which stat you raise, your weapon's attack will still increase. Based on the weapon that character uses, you can go from a sword master to a wizard, archer, or even a thief. This creates a variety in the playstyle of each player and removes the part in which the player would need to create a new character to experience other classes, as it is in most other MMORPG games. What is important is that in Throne and Liberty you can equip 2 weapons simultaneously and every class is self-sufficient, and as mentioned, all depends on a person's playstyle. In other words, you can create your combos based on the weapons you choose. Throne and Liberty's unique combat system is shown through its 7 weapons, each showcasing a clear concept: a tank class that protects themselves and their allies by drawing in enemy attacks with their sword and shield, a mobile melee damage dealer that can inflict damage on a target with a great sword, an assassin who uses stealth and speed to confuse enemies, inflicts crowd control effects with a dagger, a highly effective debuff and ranged damage dealer that has the fastest attack speed and high utility thanks to their crossbow. An archer is another long-range damage dealer who can safely attack from far away using their longbow. We also have a mage that can deal massive damage to multiple targets using their staff. Players will also be able to play a support healer whose main weapons will be wand and tome. All these weapons can theoretically be combined to create 21 unique classes. This definitely reminds me quite a lot of the arcade style of combining classes, so for sure this will be a lot of fun. Players will be able to enchant their weapons, and seems that NCSoft has prepared safe methods for such an upgrade of the weapon. So unlike in Lineage 2, your weapon will not break or de-level an enchant. The best part is that the players will be able to exchange weapon level enchant to another weapon of the same grade. Since there are so many combinations, we can expect to see a huge variety of player styles depending on what situation requires. A big number of dungeons as you progress will for sure give new ideas to the players on how to approach defeating an enemy. In Throne and Liberty there are 2 types of dungeons. The first one is seamless dungeons where gameplay continues without any loading screen upon entry. The second type of dungeon will have conditions for entering these dungeons, but it will not depend on the level. Instead, it will depend on environmental factors such as rain or time, meaning is it night or day. So, in other words, a low-level character won't be forbidden from entering the dungeon, so we can expect a lot of fast runs in which guilds clans will boost their teammates, but then again, we're not sure how will this work exactly, since there might be loot and X penalty in such cases. For sure, everyone who is a fan of the MMORPG genre will enjoy what Throne and Liberty will have to offer, as all of the raids and dungeons have different mechanics, and it will be a great experience discovering something like this. What we can hope for is that the game will build up a great community. What every MMORPG had were guilds, and Throne and Liberty is no different on this part. Now, what you may not know is that the game is not two-sided like in the World of Warcraft, where you have Alliance versus Horde, or three-sided like in a case of Guild Wars 2, where you have events like World versus World versus World. Instead, it is a guild-based, or even better, you can be a free mercenary. So by saying this, you need to understand that guilds are an integral part of how you fit in Throne and Liberty, as being a member of guild will also provide you bonuses and clan skills and items. It will for sure help you on your journey to be a part of a community. Also, this is something that reminds me of Lineage 2, and it is a clan arena where only guild members can access such instant zone. These raids will ensure stable growth and resources. These raids will be much more challenging than the regular raids and dungeons that are accessible to everyone. But one of the main reasons why everyone wants to be a part of the guild is due to PvP actions, and Throne and Liberty will offer great siege battles. We are talking about fights 200 versus 200 or even more. This is something we have seen in Lineage 2 over the years, and no matter which chronicle you played, it was the most memorable thing, and the epic fights for the castles and territory wars. Strategies and organization by guilds will require a great deal of dedication, from siege golems up to controlling specific areas of the siege ground. The winner of the castle siege will be able to tax the surrounding areas and villages. Now, one thing that is different from Lineage 2 is that collecting the tax won't be so easy, and it will include summoning a golem to collect taxes from each village. Of course, opposing guilds will for sure try to steal these taxes, which makes the game even more challenging and fun to play. In Throne and Liberty, there's an enemy that all guilds must unite against to defeat it. The Archboss reminds us of the scenes from the Goddess of Destruction attacking the Dwarven village in the Lineage 2. But since the game style is pretty much the same as in Lineage 2, during all these raids you can expect inner conflicts between guilds, even during such global raids and common enemies. But from what we understood, you're not bound to be hostile at all, but proclaim your guild as neutral and explore the PvE part of the game. On the game release, 2 regions will be available. You will be able to explore 19 territories, 8 cities, and 6 dungeons, and fight 2 Archboss and 18 bosses. It is planned to keep adding new content so players can look forward to the new adventures. Now we will cover one of the most important subjects, and this is the monetization model. As one of the most frequently asked questions by players for a big reason, since the game is free to play and the title is coming from the NCSoft, we expect to see pay to win to be highly present. So from what we know, there are 4 models of monetization. The first ones are the pass products. There are 2 pass items in Throne and Liberty, a growth pass which rewards you as your character grows, and a battle pass where you clear special missions every 4 weeks. You can receive a free pass as a base reward, but if you purchase it, in other words spend money, the pass will give you additional rewards. If you played Lineage 2 Essence Chronicle, you will understand this part very well. But in comparison with L2 and Throne and Liberty, pass products will largely consist of cosmetic costumes and materials to aid growth. In the case of growth materials, they would only supplement deficiencies from everyone's experience. We know that in such games as open world MMORPG, any boost can cause drastic gaps between the players. But the logic behind the Battle Pass is that the more you play, the more you get. The second model of monetization is purely cosmetics, that can only affect appearance and not affect any stats. And from what we understood, they are hoping to rely mainly on this model of monetization. For the third model of monetization is the interesting one, and it relies on players trading, exchanging between players that will take place through the marketplace, which will use the premium currency called Lucent. Does this mean there won't be a regular trading available? It sure sounds weird, but we have to wait and see what they have in mind, as we expect that with this Lucent currency, you'll be able to buy other products from the game store. They are promising they will make sure to balance the content, so it remains for us to see this once the game is released. And there will be fourth model of monetization that includes Amitois and Morphs, with Amitois acting as player companion dedicated to self-healing and looting, and Morphs being the Throne and Liberty's interpretation of a mount. These two will be fixed products and won't be available via loot boxes, and they will be the same as costumes and other cosmetics. By saying this, it means they won't be giving any additional stats from those that are unavailable for sale, and both will have a collection system with additional rewards under Amitoi Lithograph and Morph Collections level. Now a really important question has been answered, and this is concerning auto farming and growth progress. They said that the feedback from Western community beta test is one of the main reasons why they decided to remove auto farming. The first decision to remove this feature was made in Korea and also applied in North America. With these changes, they applied also the reduction in the required time to reach the maximum level, so now you need 1/10 of what was needed before in order to reach the level cap. They didn't want to create a huge gaps between players, so if a person plays 2 hours a day, they could still reach the level cap within a month. On top of this, everyone was surprised that they managed to change the combat system in such a short period of time. Now what we need to understand is that this game was in development for many years and they had no problems adjusting this. Now an interesting part about raids in Throne and Liberty, it will be divided in two categories, the PvP PvE and the PvE. The PvP PvE model is pretty much what we have seen in Lineage 2, an open field, which means that during a fight against a raid boss, another guild or player side can join the fight and interrupt the participants with the PvP combat in a fight over the loot. And of course, the PvE model, which is mostly in closed dungeons. As one of the examples, we can say guild raids, and in Lineage 2 also known as clan arena. But since these raids are only player versus environment, they are made much more complex and challenging to defeat. There are no fundamental differences between field raid and guild raid drops, but the main difference is that drops from guild raids cannot be sold in the market and they are bound to the player. These two different models prevent dominant guilds from monopolizing the best rewards and ensure a stable growth path for relatively weaker guilds. They said that the target audience for Throne and Liberty are people who love PC MMORPG genre, people who like communicating and interacting with other players, crafting, selling, hunting and exploring the world as we have seen many popular MMORPGs. The game will be first released on PC, as the game will be very complex with a lot of dynamic changes occurring. They needed a platform that can handle high level of technological implementation. They have been considering releasing it on a mobile and have the auto farm on it, but they decided to focus on PC player community and they scrapped the plan to have the game available for mobile at all. We know that the game have been long in development, so by knowing that, we know there is a lot of content ready. Their plan is to have 3 major updates every year. Right after the release, the next 2 updates will include new region called Talandre. This is a mountainous region with exciting terrain and extremely varying degrees of elevation. What is unique for Throne and Liberty is the interactive feature that utilize environmental characteristics and diverse gameplay by utilizing various gimmicks. Timing of updates will be adjusted based on demand for content after launch, but they are estimating to be around 3 to 4 months at the earliest. The second update will be Dracorid region. Not only will Dracorid feature a special species called Dragonkin, but it will also feature a region that is shared across multiple servers. Up to 12 servers will compete for control with dynamic events, new bosses and occupation objects whenever a new region is unlocked. Each update will also carry new weapons and more non-combat content as well. Officially, the game will be released on December 7th for the Korean region and pre-registration is already available. More content about the release will be available on the upcoming G-Star event, which will be held from November 16 to November 19. That will be all for now. If you enjoyed this video and would like to support my channel, you can do it by subscribing, liking and sharing my content with your friends. Feel free to write your opinion about the game in the comments. Thank you for watching and until next time, take care.